Welcome to our presentation. Today we're going to present the organizational behavior of Ikea with the recent case study of spying. Our diverse team includes Elina from Latvia, Goda from Lithuania, Steen from Denmark. Then we move on to Alex from Sweden with Eileen from Turkey. Finally, we have Ella from Switzerland and Simon from France. First, we'll be presenting you the overview of Ikea, which starts with the significant dates of the development of Ikea. The significant dates of Ikea starts from 1951, where the first Ikea catalog was published. And then, in 1980s, Ikea set up the most important markets. And from 1990 to 2000, Ikea introduced the children programs by adopting also a responsible attitude towards sustainable environment. In 62 years, Ikea Group has emerged and was chosen the world leader in furniture market. Then we'll be showing you a world map that signifies the existence of Ikea worldwide. The company Ikea was founded in Sweden in 1953 by Ignar Kamprad. Ikea name comes from the initials of the I, meaning the founder's name, Ignar, K, meaning his last name, which is Kamprad, E, signifying the farm where he grew up, called Elimtard, and A, his home district in southern of Sweden, Agunnard. After seeing the meaning of Ikea, here are the main numbers of their success. The annual turnover in Ikea today is more than 23 billion of euros. They employ more than 127,000 employees in their 280 stores in 26 countries. And they are offering 9,500 products in their outlets. So, the question is, how did they become so successful and why they were different than others? We'll be answering this question by giving the business idea, company's value, and vision. Their business idea is that Ikea offers a wide range of well-designed, functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. Even though they developed the company with these concepts, something has been changed since the spy scandal has been released. Now we're going to show you the recent news about the Ikea scandal. Welcome to France 24 International. Today we'll be talking about the Swedish furniture company, Ikea, which currently exists all around Europe, and it has been accused of spying its employees. Ikea was found guilty of manipulating their power by illegally spying their employees' personal and professional lives. This unethical management method resulted into the employee losing their trust to the company. This issue created psychological damage on the employees, and they started a strike. The French newspaper Le Canard enchaîné stated the company that it used a secret police service to gain information, to use against the employees. This is why a French union initiated a formal legal complaint against Swedish furniture company Ikea. Now, this way of management is getting more and more popular in many countries. And the question is, which company represents a secure working environment for an employee? Now, we'll be showing you an interview about a current employee and a former manager who got fired.
Good afternoon. My name is Ella and I have been working for Ikea Paris since 20 years now. And there is my story as an ex-manager of the company. I have refused to take part in the management spying on my colleagues. So they decided for me to leave the company for my unwillingness to cooperate. And for this reason, I decided to accuse Ikea for harassment. I didn't fit in the profile of being a good Ikea manager. What happened one day is that the senior management called me in. They had a file about 10 centimeters thick, detailing small fillings. There wasn't any serious fault, but they told me that they had collected enough information on me to get me fired. Moreover, 5 others of my colleagues were also fired by the same way, and I really think this is unacceptable for my company.
I am working for one of the Ikea outlets near Paris, and my colleagues and me just learned that we had been spied for a long time now. I really don't understand how someone can do this. It's just not moral or not ethic at all. They don't have any respect for our privacy. It's our personal lives, and it has nothing to do with them. The consequence is that now nobody trusts anyone anymore. Everyone prefers to stay quiet and not communicate with someone else because it might be a potential mob in the company. We have to be careful with everything we say, everything we do. And this spying is happening also outside of work as much as it's happening inside. I would say that now most of the employees have to become paranoid because we never know till where they're able to go and how far they can look for our privacy. It's obvious that the communication is more and more difficult, and it has a big influence on the quality of the service provided in Ikea. It's not only about communication, it's also about pressure. We all feel constantly stressed, as if someone was waiting for us to do a mistake. We are very scared to lose our job every day, and the atmosphere at work is very heavy. We don't trust anymore this company, and we feel insecure in this working place environment, definitively. I mean, how can an employee satisfy the customer if himself is not satisfied with the company he's working for?
Now we're moving to Alex live in front of IKEA in Paris.
Thank you very much for that, Eileen. So I'm standing here outside IKEA Paris, where the news about managers spying on employees has just occurred. And I got then the privilege with a short interview with the CEO, Mr. Stéphane van Overbeek. So with me here, I have Mr. Stéphane van Overbeek, the current CEO of IKEA France. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So in 2010, you became the CEO of IKEA, but actually you started within the company already in 1994 as an employee. Is this correct?
That's correct.
And then you've been in the company for a very long time, so I can imagine that you are familiar with the working environment and also the core values of the company.
Definitely, yes. I started out as a normal employee in our sales and marketing department, so I learned on first hand how the working environment is, but also the core values of IKEA.
Okay. And also, you said sales and marketing department, right?
That's correct.
So also there you learn a lot about the communication between managers, employees and customers. Is this correct?
That's correct.
So when you became the new CEO, would you say that you implemented any new methods or objectives that would make IKEA grow as a company?
When I started as a CEO, I had in mind to respect the leading style of the previous CEO, so I didn't implement any new methods, so I tried to keep it in line as it was before.
Okay, so I'm coming back to this about communication again. So would you say that it's a good communication between managers and employees in IKEA?
I would say so. When I started, I tried to improve especially the trust between employees and managers.
So I have to get back to this about communication and trust. You say that you have that within the company. What is this new scandal that has occurred about managers spying on employees? Don't you think that this is affecting the employees in a very bad way and that right now they don't see the good parts of the company?
First of all, I would say spying is maybe a big word. What we were trying to do was to get some information, some general information, and you could call it random knowledge about the employees. We did that in order to create a better working environment, so we knew a bit more about our employees, so we could adjust our frames of work in IKEA. We are still an employer of choice, and we only wanted to create like a better and safe working environment for everyone.
So you would not call it spying, it was just
I would
random
not.
information like any other company?
Yes,
Okay, thank you very much for your time, Mr. van Overbeek.
my pleasure.
As you can see, the CEO of Friends wasn't really comfortable in answering our questions. So now the question is, how can IKEA give back the trust they have taken away back to the company and their employees? Even though they developed the company with these concepts, something has been changed since the spy scandal has been released. Now we're going to show you the recent news about the IKEA scandal. First, we'll be handling the power manipulation problem. And we'll be using the 5 bases of power. It's one of the most notable studies on power that was conducted by social psychologists called John French and Bertram Raven in 1959. They identified 5 bases of power, starting with the reward. This results from one person's ability to compensate another for compliance. Second one is the coercive power, that threats of punishment and actual punishment give an individual coercive power. In the case of IKEA, it is the sales manager who threatens to fire a salesperson who has a longer break hour than a normal one. The expert power is when a valued knowledge or information gives an individual the expert power over those who need such knowledge or information. So in IKEA, we advise the managers to be trained in order to train and teach. The referent power is also called charisma. The referent power comes into play when one personality becomes the reason for compliance. From Martin Luther King to Steve Jobs, almost every well-known leader used or uses referent power to influence his or her followers. So the managers in IKEA should be able to present a strong influential character for the employee to idolize. Finally, it is the legitimate power, which comes from the belief that a person has the right to make demands and expect compliance and obedience from others. In our case, IKEA is using the legitimate power in utmost way. Our recommendation is that the managers should be using not only legitimate, but all together, which are rewarding, coercive, expert, and referent. If the managers are aware of these resources, they can better understand why they're influenced by someone and decide whether they want to accept the base of power or not. They will also recognize their own source of power, so they won't need the spying in order to understand their employee. They will, at the end, build their leadership skills by using and developing these resources of power appropriately and for the best effect. The second problem, which is the lack of trust, will be solved by the theory of Fernando Bartolome, who offers the following 6 guidelines for building and maintaining trust. The 6 steps to build, maintain trust are communication, support, respect, fairness, predictability, and competence. Communication will be used by keeping team members and employees being informed and by explaining policies and decisions, also providing accurate feedback. Of course, they will be candid about their own problems and limitations by telling the truth. Second factor, support. Support factors should be available and approachable. This will be constructed by help, advice, coaching, and support from the team member ideas. Third, respect. Delegates real decision-making authority. It is the most important expression of managerial respect. This will be managed by actively listening to the ideas of IKEA employees. The fairness factor is to be quick and to give credit and recognition to those who deserve it. Fairness is to make sure all performance appraisals and evaluations are objective and impartial. Predictability. as mentioned previously, is to be consistent and predictable in your daily affairs of IKEA. Is to keep both expressed and implied promises. The last one is the competence that will enhance your credibility by demonstrating good business sense, technical ability, and professionalism. These are the 6 steps to build and maintain trust.
Trust is defined as reciprocal faith in others' intentions and behavior. Experts on the subject explain the reciprocal, which means give and take aspect of trust as follows. When we see others acting in ways that imply that they trust us, we become more disposed to reciprocity by trusting them more. Conversely, we come to distrust those whose actions appear to violate our trust or to distrust us. In short, we tend to give what we get. Trust begets trust, distrust begets distrust. A newer model of organizational trust includes a personality trait called propensity to trust, which is a personality trait involving one's general willingness to trust others. Propensity might be thought of as the general willingness to trust others. Trust involves a cognitive leap beyond the expectations that reason and experience alone would warrant. As we can see in the table, first-hand knowledge of other person's reliability and integrity leads to faith in other person's good intentions and assumption that the other person will behave as desired, which is a cognitive leap, which leads to trust. For example, suppose a member of a newly formed class project team works hard, basing this on the assumption that her teammates are also working hard. That assumption on which her trust is based is a cognitive leap that goes beyond her actual experience with her teammates. When you trust someone, you have faith in their good intentions. The act of trusting someone, however, carries with it the inherent risk of betrayal.